sitting back because it just do that. Unless I'm replying, then since I got my mic right here, I'm see how long I'm going out being replying, I might have to recline. If things and stuff get to doing things and stuff things. Hey, 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 and welcome, you guys. Glad to have you sitting with me a little spell in my phone. Y'all see, I uploaded that little live I did the other day. I ain't gonna cut it up because it was a whole hot mess. But I did upload my live that was jumping all over the place because my phone things after it's gotten dumped in all of that water. I'm about to get me a phone. I'm about to get me another phone. I ain't ready for a camera yet. I can't afford a camera yet, but I'm about to get me another device so that I can not have to concern myself with whether or not the phone is going to phone and not want me to come live. I would love it if you guys would like, share, and subscribe. This is Just Sylvie, and I am bringing you a little bit of that 414. Still gonna bring you that 414, that balance, that one in the middle for some balance. You know? Why? Because you're gonna see things like this and they're gonna see things like that. But if we come together, thank you, thank you, thank you. My baby girl be teaching me how to make up now. She be teaching me how to make up, and she said less is more, so I am learning. I be going back looking at some of my older videos. And I was the teacher. She learned from her mama, but she stepped up her game and stepped up her mama's game too. So thank you very much. But yes, that one in the middle, because although we are not ever going to see things the same way for the most part, we can come together to get some understanding. Understanding does not mean that you ever have to agree with the other side. It just allows you to see something from a different side. So y'all see that title said, let's talk a woman scorned. Because all too often, we gonna be scorned. We gonna be hot like fire at some things if we don't like the way some things go. When we should first be at least trying to see if we gonna sweep around our own front door before you try to sweep around theirs. That video I just got finished watching, that young lady said, some of y'all need to get a broom and go sweep around that front door that y'all haven't swept around in a long, long time. We are going to talk about, you see in my title, I got Zacchaeus up there. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Zacchaeus on TikTok. Zacchaeus Jones. I have Alice Dimples up there. She is TikTok famous as well. I have myself up there because why? I just said, sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around theirs. So I'm going to make sure I sweep around my own front door first and foremost. Let's talk a little bit about Zacchaeus. We're going to talk a little bit about Zacchaeus because I don't go on Zacchaeus' page. Zacchaeus started off her page with doing a whole lot of eating. And Zacchaeus is the most heavy set one. If anybody looking at me now, y'all know I'm thick too. We gonna talk. We gonna talk about Miss Minor. What was her name? Was it Shirley Minor? Something Minor. I don't forgot her. I don't forgot her. Let me see. I got it right here. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Sherry Minor. Sherry Minor was her name. We're gonna talk about Sherry Minor. Sherry Minor is Zacchaeus's one of her top fans. Now, top fans is a thing that Facebook does. And if any of y'all have a Facebook and y'all be seeing people, y'all be liking their stuff, y'all be commenting on their stuff and stuff like that, sometimes you're going to see that you've been their top fan. I don't know if that's been always. I think that's something that's a little more new. I be people's top fans sometimes. It's a few people. It's a few chef pages. It's a few no, it's only one preacher that I really follow that I be top fanning on her. I be on Mary J. Blige's page, so I be a top fan on hers. If you commenting on somebody's stuff on a regular basis, you become a top fan. And if y'all don't know anything about how social media platforms grow, because I'm the little guy out here just working hard to grow this platform is all. Like, share, and subscribe, you guys. But all comments, good, bad, indifferent, all likes and shares. Tasha K will tell you to put the thumbs down on hers because it puts you into the algorithm. Every and anything that anybody does on your page contributes when you are attempting to grow your platform. So when I be watching Zacchaeus out there just eating like that, sometimes it bugs my whole nerves because it be big plates of food. And she could do what my daughter said. We don't know, but you just gonna assume that because somebody is heavy set that they just eat a lot. I have a cousin that had a thyroid issue. Literally, she was small all of her life, and then when her thyroid started, she blew up. She blew up. So it is what it is. I can't speak on what Zacchaeus do because my daughter says some of those folks that be making those plates. She spoke on the thinner people because I'm like, I don't want to see anybody eating and making a whole bunch of noise and just big plates of food that it looks like if you ain't eating it, you're gonna waste it. Like you just making videos, but to each his own. Everybody on these social media streets can do what they choose to do on these social media streets. Somebody just commented on one of Zacchaeus' videos because a woman was like, y'all don't have to be so mean. That one, the young lady came up there and she was like, nobody owes you niceness. This is social media. Nobody owes you niceness. Now, with that being said, nobody does. I say it all the time. That I said it to my daughter when we were having the conversation yesterday. My daughters are so wise. My daughters are so gorgeous. I love me some them. And I love to take advice. When we get into that scripture, it's going to talk about the person that loves to take advice. So while nobody owes you niceness on these social media streets, it says something about you when everything that you have to say about a person is in negative connotation or context. You are continuously calling a person outside of their name. You are just dragging them down to the ground because you don't like what their content is speaking of. And we're not even talking about some folks will rationalize who it's okay to drag. Let's say our president. Every far left person on this earth is going to rationalize why it's okay to drag our president. Even those Christians out there, they're gonna rationalize why it's okay to drag our president when the Bible says love your neighbor or your brother as yourself. I don't think they know that President Donald Trump is their neighbor or their brother. Because they're going to rationalize. Or they're going to say they love them because they be praying prayers that they probably would never pray for somebody that they really love. And some of those prayers may include Jesus save them, but when you get to calling people out their name, they're not talking about calling people out their name. I done heard that man called Orange Man. I done heard him called 47. I done heard him called evil, the devil, Satan, and all of that. So they're going to rationalize it. But when people are building platforms, as much as you may have to say about Zacchaeus, as much as you may have to say about Zacchaeus and her weight, they are steadily calling her husband a woman. I don't know if the man used to be a woman or not, but people are saying no, it's not true. But then there are people that act like it's just true. So let's get to Sherry Minor. So Sherry Minor made a comment. This was, it probably goes back maybe 3 weeks to a month. Because when the response came, the notification came, I had forgot that I made the comment. I was commenting on another post, and I actually thought that had come from. Won't pay attention to detail. Sometimes I get got, y'all. I don't be paying attention to detail all the time, but not with serious stuff. But on this social media, sometimes commenting on people's stuff. I reported to Facebook. I'm like, I did not make this comment, thinking it was the thread that I was on. And when I realized that it was the young lady Sherry Minor on Zacchaeus' post, I forget what her original comment was, but it was very much dragging Zacchaeus. Something about her body parts. And I went in and I said something to the effect of, since you're listed as a top fan, I'd say you like her body parts. Because you always in here in her comments. That's what top fans are all about. So I'm getting this comment back, and this comment basically starts to try and drag me, and I'm just as bad as Zacchaeus and all of this stuff like that. I really forget what the comment said. I really forget what the comment said. But where it came to, after I went back and told her, sounds like you're big mad and you're miserable because you just got time to stay in her comments saying something negative. And I've said on her post before, people be like, I don't know why TikTok won't take her down. Because y'all stay in here commenting negatively. That is boosting her ratings. That is putting her in the algorithm. Whatever you comment, if it's a good comment, if it's a bad comment, it's putting her in the algorithm. And folks like drama. So y'all bringing the drama to her page by making those comments. No, TikTok's not going to take her down. And I don't wish for anybody to lose their hustle. I ain't never went on her page and was like, oh, I wish they take it down. I don't even really comment. If I have a thought, I do with her for the most part what my daughter said. I don't always comment. She said, sometimes I just ask God to forgive me for what I thought in my head. I might not even ask God to forgive me. I might be shaking my head, Lord, I ain't say nothing. Well, Lord, I ain't say nothing on the comment and go on about my business. So once I told Miss Sherry Minor that she was big mad, I'm gonna try to sip my coffee without messing up my lipstick, because my daughter told me the other day, she called me on FaceTime, and I had been sitting in the house, and I had eaten, and I had not taken off my makeup, and she was like, Ma, it looks like you've been doing unspeakable, unhumanly things with your lips, and I'm like, huh? She was like, your lipstick is everywhere, and my baby girl had to tell her she'd probably been eating. And she went on to tell me what she does before she eats. So she'll take her, girl, I am in the house. I ain't out and about or anything like that. If I'm going out to eat, I might not want to wear this lipstick, but I'm going to try to drink real cute. Probably not going to drink no more of that because it ain't hot no more. So I was sitting here getting the video together when I went and warmed it up. That's my coffee. Probably just sip on that water from now on. But anywho, once I told Miss Sherry Minor that she was big mad and big miserable, because anytime that you have to get your point across by degrading someone, I don't care what the situation. I don't care if it's race. I don't care if you look the same color, because me and my daughter spoke about African Americans and Africans and the turmoil that there is between the two. I don't care what it is. It says something about you, not that person. Period. It says something about you. It says something about your character. You feel me? So Sherry Minor decided that she wanted to go to my Facebook page and take a look at my Facebook, and then that's when she told me, y'all got the same thing in common. You probably bigger than Zacchaeus. You could stand to push away from a few meals and everything like that. And I have told the story on this platform several times. I just put my weight back on when I moved in my place. I have been on a homeless journey since 2016, off and on. And I say off and on because I thought that God was done with me when I got my place in 2020. But God was not done with me because God had been telling me since I went on the homeless journey in 2016 that I want you to leave your job for your health. How many of y'all can say y'all God said that? You don't got no husband, you don't got no wife, you don't got no savings, you don't got none of that. Because your financial mind wasn't where it needed to be. But God is saying what God is saying. And I'm living with people and I'm like, yeah, God, and I was working. There was not really much of a time during my homeless journey that I did not work. Period. When I first went on my journey, nope. Because I got a job before I lost my place. I lost my place. I had business owners, entrepreneurs, because God encamps its angels around me to say it's okay. I done lost a place or two or three. It's okay. So I wasn't gonna be leaving no jobs while I was living with people. I wasn't trying to hear God, and I don't know if any of y'all know that God will have its way. If God wants you and if God wants something from you, if you love God, if you truly deep down in my heart, deep, deep down in my heart. Oh, Terry, oh, Maya. Okay, I went there. I don't own the rights to any of this music that you may be hearing me sing. But if you love God, the intent is to always do whatever it takes. I forget the song that I was listening to, but that song said that, what was the word that it used? I can't think of the word that it used, but it basically was saying Jesus did not want to die on that cross. Jesus did not want to die on that cross. If Jesus wanted to die on the cross, Jesus would have said, take this cup from me, oh God. But then Jesus followed up with, not my will, but your will. That is the goal of the relationship with God. If you are in a relationship with the Most High God, and it's all about what can you do for me, God? What can you do for me? I would tend to say that you might not really be in a relationship with God. I don't know relationship with, but we here to do things for God, and God blesses us in the midst of all the way through and all of that good stuff like that. But this walk is not about what you can do for me all day, every day, God. And I don't But I wasn't. Not even that I wasn't hearing God. I just in my mind, Lord, how do I start working? How do I start working when I got to contribute to the places where I was staying? I stayed with a few people. I was never on the streets when I was homeless. I always had family and friends. I was in a homeless shelter for a little bit. But then in 2020, that 2020 is before the homeless shelter. 2020 is when I got my place. I got a place. I was renting a room, and I was content in renting my room. I promise I was. Anybody that know me, anybody that came over, it was like a hotel room set up. I had everything I needed in my room. I was good, and it was a monthly fee that was affordable, not like a hotel was gonna cost about $1,200 a month to stay in the hotel. Yeah, I had a nice hotel room for half that. You feel me? And then God said, leave your job for your work. And I was like, and believe. I don't just sit around and don't do nothing. I was like, God, I just got my play. I ain't got my play, God. You gonna leave your job where you work? And then I got a promotion. I had given God the date that I was gonna leave, and then I got that promotion, and I started trying to rationalize. Well, God, if you let me do this, this, that, and the other, before I leave, I just need to do this. And then my hours got cut, so I didn't even get to enjoy my promotion. I got a promotion and a raise. Excuse me, I got a promotion and a raise. I didn't get to enjoy my raise, but I did get to enjoy my promotion. I still took the promotion, but my hours got cut in half because that was back in 2020. COVID had started, and I was working this particular job. I was an answering service, and so how COVID was affected, I still be like, Lord, how did that one up? But you could how COVID come in and affect me like that? And I wouldn't even. Somebody that moved in there. Oh no, he walking through the court. Yeah. Oh my bad, y'all. I lost my neighbor, and we weren't friends. We was friendly, and I thought somebody was walking. But anywho, so I went ahead and I gave my job up, and then I went on the real journey. I say the real journey because that's what God had been wanting out of me in the first place. And I kept my place for a couple of months after I left my job. When I left my place, it wasn't because God wasn't going to make provision. I promise you that. I got a deposit back. Now we're going to skip all of that. We're going to skip the homeless shelter. We're going to get to here. Because I rented a room before I got here as well. I rented that room for a year and a half. I was not in a rooming house then either. I lived with my landlord and her roommate. They were in the Navy. They were that color, and I love them dearly. I still talk to my landlord. My landlord just texted me and said her dad wanted my sweet potato pie recipe. Don't play with it. Miss Emma was the bestest, and they were younger than my daughters. And I used to tell them all the time how much they reminded me of my daughter. I got to experience her dad. That's how he got how he wanted my sweet potato pie recipe because he came to visit while I was living there, and I had made a sweet potato pie, and they loved my sweet potato pie. And for them to be so young, they cook very well too. But anywho, from there I came here. God blessed me with this place, with the instruction of leave your job for this, with the instruction of leave your job for your platform. See, God started telling me hashtag crazy talk a long time ago because I understand that some of the things that I do, people look at me like I'm crazy. People have told me the woman I stayed with in 2020, she told me I was crazy. Told me God would never tell her to leave her job or her house. One of my girlfriends, until God said it to her, when God said it to her, she expressed to me how crazy she thought it sounded when I was saying God said leave your job. And then God spoke that word to her. So I had to get out of the way of trying to people please because God doesn't want us to be people pleasers. God wants us to be God pleasers. All of that to say, when I got in this place, because I will say one thing about the homeless shelter. When I was in the homeless shelter, I put on some weight too. I lost 100 pounds. I lost 90 something pounds. I round that up to 100 all the time. I lost 90 something pounds starting in 2016. So when I went in the homeless shelter in 2021, that was 2000, the end of 2020, 2021, I put about 30 of those pounds back on. When I got out of the homeless shelter, I immediately took it back off. 30 to 40 pounds. When I got here, I got comfortable because I knew that it was rest time. I knew that this was not temporary. I knew that I had already done what God had said do. It took me years to do it the first time. So when God said leave your job for the platform, I wasn't messing around with God at the time. I wasn't messing around with God and gonna let it take years because if you let it take years, then God gonna make it take years. You the one out there running. And you running from God. So God said, if you want to run, I'll just wait till you tire yourself out. And then I'm going to ask you again, are you going to do this? So at some point, if you don't want God to continue to take you back to that thing that you were doing, you're going to do what God said do. When I got in here, I got comfortable and I put back on weight. Period. And I'm working on getting it off right now. It's harder than it was any other time. It really is. But I can do all things, and I have already taken the weight off, so I know that I can do it. It's a little hard. I mean, it was an accident, but when I got hit from the car. When I told my doctor that the other day, he was like, "Wait, are you literally saying that a car hit you, or were you in a car?" No, I was not in a car. My body got hit by a car, and so that is putting a damper on how I was doing exercise, and I already had issues. Like I had the knee issues came before the car accident, but got worse after the car accident. But I was still working out with my knee issues before the car accident. It's just making it a little harder to do things and stuff since the accident. So that is why the weight is back on. I wasn't gonna go over that all of that with Miss Sherry Minor. Miss Sherry Minor was under the assumption that she was just going to make me feel bad, and I go on Zacchaeus' page often because they drag her. They come into her comment section and drag her, and a lot of times it's women that look just like her. It's very every so often. It's excuse me, very seldom that I see a woman that looks like that. As a matter of fact, the woman that defended her today looked like that. And I'm not saying that none of us don't defend her, but I'm saying a lot of the times that I see people dragging her, it be when I look at the profile pictures, if they're not this color, they got up a color, they got up a profile picture that's that color, which means that you're hiding. You're hiding who you are. Some of them don't have profile pictures at all. So Miss Sherry Minor was under the impression that she was just eating because she was dragging me. She thought she was dragging me. So when she saw that that wasn't working, she started trying to bounce things off me. She called me holy. You trying to be so holy, and I wasn't trying to be holy. All I'm saying is you don't have to come in this shit comments all negative. Like that makes you a little miserable. She tried to call me miserable after that. I said what you were saying. You saw what you were saying wasn't working, so you thought you were gonna bounce my stuff off of me. Look, I got so catty with her. I told her, "I am rubber, you are glue. Everything you say bounces off me and sticks right to you. All of that misery that you're trying to dish out, it comes back and it just sticks to you." I said, "Baby, I'm losing the weight." I call those things that be not as though it were. But are you gonna lose the misery? So that's how that thing went with myself and Miss Sherry Minor. And then I talked to my daughter on yesterday. Talked to my daughter on yesterday, and I was asking her about her opinion, what they felt about the track stars. And I don't know if any of you guys like, share, subscribe, you guys. If any of you guys in the comments are familiar with the Carmelo Anthony and the Metcalf story. Um, but I was asking my daughters what they felt about it, and I was saying that I've watched lawyers speak about it. I've read news articles about it. I've watched some TikTokers. One of the TikTokers, excuse me, not TikTokers, YouTubers. One of the YouTubers that I watched that was speaking about it. Shout out to Street Media TV. Um, he is a very integrous platform. He does content about the black family. He is into the black family, not the black male, not the black female, but the black family, and he'll tell you that often. So as he was giving his content, because he's been following the story, so I was watching one day, and he was talking about the Metcalf dad's criminal history. So when I mentioned that to my daughter, because that's the one thing that I had not gone in and done any research on, his was the first time that I had heard about the dad's criminal history. And I saw a news article about it yesterday before my daughter and I talked. A news video. So it was mainstream media news, and they were gonna speak. I didn't watch it, but it in the title it had information about the dad's criminal record. So my daughter said, "Ma," she said, "I'm gonna be honest It didn't look like him. She said she saw the mugshot. She said it did not look like the Metcalf dad. She said you've been seeing him on all of the videos, and when you go look at that mugshot, they had him at the bottom, they had the mugshot at the top. The mugshot looks nothing like him. So I'm like, okay. I said I haven't done any research on that. This is what my daughter then said. Ma, if we're going to be better than the people that hate us for whatever reason, than people that are walking around here exhibiting low vibrations and low character traits, then we can't do what they do. We can't think it's all right because time you see some black child gets hurt or some black person gets hurt by the police, you're gonna see all of these articles where they are going in and they are digging up everything about them that they can to prove that what they were bad enough to be taken out. I just said that about Twitch on my last video because there are women out there who say he shouldn't have went out there and married that white woman. So that meant that it's okay that he be taken out. We gonna talk about that when we talk about Kim Delaney, because O'Shea Duke Jackson feels a similar way to what I feel. Because I talked about the arrest, but I didn't talk about the update yet. We're gonna talk about the update. But I don't feel like anybody ever just deserves to just be unalived for no reason. I'm not going to speak about my views about the Metcalf Anthony situation because we don't have all of the information. And what I do is speculate based off of the information that is had. I will say this: if those young men were trying to jump him, I just watched one of the lawyers speak about it. I watched two lawyers speak about it. One that looked like this, one that looked like this. They both came from very balanced places. The one that looked like this said that he might get charged with life without the possibility of parole, and the news article said that he can't because he's 17. And the news article already said that, so I'm like, okay, he must not have researched that part. But the second lawyer said that he was 5'9", I think, and 135 pounds. And before I watched the lawyer, all I said when I kept looking at pictures of Carmelo Anthony, I'm like, he looked like a little boy. Because I had heard their dad say that his twins are 225 pounds. They big boys. Them was big 17-year-olds. Big ones. He was 135 pounds, and that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't know. But when my daughter said that we can't do that yesterday, everything started to hit me. Like it started, like it was, I was carrying that thing. My spirit was being convicted. If you're a child of God, and you don't like reproof, if you don't like correction, that is for your, it don't matter where it comes from, the truth don't care who you tell it. My daughter does not ascribe to being a Christian, but what she said today ascribes her to being a follower of Christ. She ain't even really text me back after that, but you said you try to live your life based on how you saw Jesus lived his life. I ain't saying I live no Christian lifestyle, Mom. I can get with that because that's what we all supposed to be doing as Christians anyway. And it is people that are not Christians that, speak about Jesus. It's people that are not Christians that live their life by Proverbs, which is where I teach out of. Live life, build businesses, and all that good stuff like that. But as that thing began to convict me, I texted her this morning and I said, baby, I said that I forgot that yesterday we were talking about African American. I said, baby, that's not just a white and black thing. Thinking about the Metcalfs and how this has become such a big race thing. Maybe that's just not a black and a white thing. She was like, Mom, she said, we talking about African and African Americans. Oh, you're absolutely right. But it goes further than that. Because I was so convicted today that I said, oh, Lord, I guess calling her miserable was calling her out of her name. I guess there was a better way that I could have handled that with Miss Sherry Minor, Lord. Because that was just pushing her. But at some point, I said, I said, they say misery loves company. And you have proved that to be true. And I had a little time, so I gave you some company. But at this point, I'm going to go ahead and end it in my Tasha K voice. Now I got to go. Bye. And she came back and she responded one more time, and I just went on. I read it. I hit the emoji on it, and I left it alone. I didn't go back and speak anymore. Jesus, when Jesus was writing down in the sand on them Sadducees and them Pharisees, I don't think he was saying you're miserable, you're orange, you're 47, you're fat, you're ugly. I don't think Jesus was saying any of that. I say Jesus was the biggest G. Jesus was so gangster. I believe that what he was writing down there let them know you do not want to test my gangster. Because if you need me to call your stuff out, I will. And I will do it with the most eloquence. I think about James Earl Jones. I think he would have been able to call somebody out with the most eloquence. And on the female side, I think about Felicia Rashad, although the women are dragging Felicia Rashad because Felicia Rashad told you put some clothes on. If you unbothered, you unbothered. If you unbothered, you unbothered. But for y'all to call her an old, washed up actress and she been married 3 times and it's men out here. Y'all, some of y'all, if you don't want no man, it is what it is. But if you want a man and you think that the man is just posing, Ben, 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 I think that is my new phrase. Cause ready to love on the move killed me with that. But if you meet the right woman, when you meet the right woman, you're gonna bend, bend, bend. Nobody gotta bend just for you. If they bend, then what are you doing to be better for them? Because bending sounds to me like you want them to just bend to your every whim. Whatever you say, it is what it is. The same way Lynn Toler hit that man with the rest of Ephesians, because some of y'all like to, some men like to stop at wives submit to your husband and forget that it say submit to your wives and forget that it talks about how Jesus loved the church and all of that good stuff like that. Y'all don't go that far. I'm guilty. Because I say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And I used to leave out every tongue that comes against me in judgment, you shall condemn. But that's when it really started hitting me. And that's the thing that God had to get in me to help me to understand the buttons and the buttons being pushed. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about Alice Dimples. But I wanted to sweep around my own front door first. Before I started sweeping around anybody else's, I can't sweep around Miss Sherry Miner's door. I already swept around before. Miss Sherry Miner, I apologize for calling you miserable, but the God had convicted me about calling you miserable. So I didn't want to be convicted about calling you miserable. Let me give y'all a few of these Mariko Johnson updates. A few of these Mariko Johnson. We talked a little bit about Mariko Johnson because Mariko Johnson is trying to get another trial, y'all. Y'all go Google Mariko Johnson. You can check out my playlist. I have a Mariko Johnson playlist. I would love for y'all to share the playlist. Check out the playlist and share the playlist because Mariko Johnson is working on trying to get a second trial, trying to get everything thrown out from the first trial because he does not feel as though he got a fair trial. So he has a court-appointed attorney who is going to bat for him. Got a post-judgment, a post sentencing motion in order. It's about 20-something pages, y'all. I went through and got some of the information from the post sentence motion to discuss because he wants another trial. And I'm believing that he'll get another trial. This was a cold case. His case was 15 years in the making, and he just got two life sentences last year, July. Got two life sentences, one for each of the women that were unalive. And I'll continue to say shout out to the family of the victims. Shout out to the Metcalf family as well. I never take lightly when people are unalive. I never take it lightly when people are unalive. But we want fairness and equity. Fairness and equity. So, I was on page 11. Let's see. So it says additional evidence that various other persons, including Alton Butch Rinker, Edward Rinker, Ralph Markle, Shane Wolf, Tony Collins, Roy Shuey, Bill Lohner, and Deshaun Alexander, including their indictments relating to their involvement in drug activity in Mount Union, Pennsylvania, and federal convictions resulting therefrom. He wasn't able to present any of that evidence, and these are people that were involved in the drug game because the baby said that the person that he saw come into the house was this color. I called him blanc in my first video. And these were the people that that person was running with. Says it is hereby asserted that defendant Mariko Johnson's due process rights were violated and that he was denied his right to a fair trial by limiting and muting his cross-examination and evidence presented as detailed above. So that was some of the evidence that he had. They muted him on so many things. They muted him and his attorney on so many things in that trial. It was ridiculous. Says the trial court erred in precluding defendant Mariko Johnson from having Trooper Kenneth Butler demonstrate at trial how cross-contamination can occur from even the most innocuous of actions, since this evidence was highly relevant, especially as to a potential explanation regarding Commonwealth's evidence. It was said that they were contaminating the crime scene because different people were in and out and things like that. Like, he didn't get to present any of that. It said he should be permitted to present a live demonstration regarding how easily cross-contamination of evidence can occur, especially in regards to the initial evidence gathering stage. And because the jury was improperly made aware that this information has scientific support, they undoubtedly improperly emphasized the conclusion of Parabon Nanolab, which renders any probative value outweighed by its prejudicial effects. And that's where they Parabon is who did the I forget what the new DNA was called. The DNA, basically it was a picture. It wasn't particularly DNA. I forget, y'all. I ain't do right by my research on that. But it was said that the suspects, or they had other suspects, family members from this picture that this lab or nano lab took. There were other people who could have fit the description, but they went with Mariko instead of even questioning the other people. So that's all I have about Mariko right now. I'm going to go in and get the rest of it, and when I come live again, we're going to discuss the rest of it. So my scripture is Proverbs 15:12. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. A scorner loveth not one who reproveth him. Didn't I just say that if you do not like reproof? How can one humble themselves feel like they is okay in doing what they do. A scorner is somebody who is gonna dish it out, all that scornful talk, all that scornful behavior, and they're gonna rationalize it. But they're never gonna go to the wise to hear good advice, wise advice. My daughter gave me wisdom on yesterday, and it made me have to. It had made me have to sweep around my own front door before I try to sweep around there. If this relationship between us and God is a relationship that is based on service to God, and God is never going to put more on us than we can bear. If nobody can tell us anything, because God is not, God can speak through a still small voice, but 9 times out of 10, God's going to speak to you through people, places, things, and I'll say situations. So on we go to Alice Dimples. Alice Dimples, braids by Alice. I don't know if y'all have ever. She be chewing that gum. She gonna throw her client down in the chair and she gonna be pulling their hair, and it's really, really comical, you know. And then she gonna put them some nice braids in their hair, and she's built herself up on TikTok. She got that one eyelash on, and at first, when I first started watching her content, I was like, "What's going on with her eye?" I didn't realize she had one eyelash on. What's going on with her eye? So Alice and Titanic. 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 Y'all can look her up on YouTube. Excuse me, on TikTok. Titanic is she is a loctician, and so she booked an appointment with Alice. She wanted some knotless braids, boho knotless is what I believe that they're called, and that's where I'm thinking the boho is where they leave the pieces of hair out and it be curly and then it be braided at the same time. I ain't really did no hair in so long that I'm not really up on what the new stuff is. But I'm believing because that's what her hair is. And she had really short hair. Some of us can break, like, I probably couldn't do a knotless on my head. But because I can grab my hair, and this where it's shaved at, because I can grab my hair right here, I can go in and braid that. Probably not with a fractured thumb. But I can braid my hair because it's catchable. Her hair, when she took the braids out, was about that long. I don't know how long they have been in, but she did a video. Titanic did a video with the braids out, and she makes it seem like that's how long it was with them in, because people were asking her, well, why you don't take the braids out? That young lady paid $500, and I'm gonna say this because it's my opinion, and many people said it. There was nothing $500-ish about that hairstyle. And the front braids, I will go and say the front braids were really neat. They won't terrible. Even with them not being terrible, it was not $500. Not $500. But she booked this appointment with Alice. Titanic says that she booked the appointment with Alice. Alice is debating that the appointment was booked with her salon, and not particularly with her. She said that there was this whole big process that she had 3 websites, and it was sending my head in a tizzy to listen to how you had to go about getting your booking with Alice. I probably could have made that same mistake, thinking I was getting booked with Alice, especially. I think she didn't find out how much she was paying until she sat down in the seat. But needless to say, I'm thinking y'all already know that the appointment wasn't with Alice. So she had a 12 o'clock appointment. She gets to the salon, and there is not only no one at the in the salon. There is nothing in the salon. No chairs, no blow dryers, no sinks, no nothing. It was an empty building. No people. So she's sitting there at the salon, and so she calls Alice. I got you. I guess Alice puts her direct line out there. So she calls Alice, and Alice says, "I'm about to call my buddy, and she's going to come and get you." There was something about a promotion that she was supposed to be getting. She had the promotion was supposed to go from March the 20th to April the 10th, I think it said. But Alice came on and did another video that said she was going to be moving salons, so the promotion was going to go from, she couldn't do it on the 20th, so she was going to do it from the 24th to April the 24th. And for those that were already booked, come in and they were serviced. So she was going in believing that she was going to be serviced. When she got on the phone with Alice, and look, I was a cosmetologist for years, and as a child, from little girl, I was doing Barbie doll head. My mother bought me a Barbie doll head because I didn't want to play with the clothes. I just wanted to do the hair. When I began to go to salons and get my hair done, like I love the smell of the salon. Like it was like in me. I felt like it was in me forever. I love the smell of the salon. I love to hear the clinking of the hot curlers. I loved everything about the salon. When I went to the salon when my cousin got married when I was a little girl, I loved to watch the woman put the grease on the back of her hair, on the back of her hand, and put it in your hair before she hit it with that hot straightening. And it'd be straight as a relaxer. I loved all of it. I was attentive when I went into the salon as a little girl. I continue to be attentive. It was irritating because the best stylist, because when I moved to North Carolina, we went to the best shop in town when I was getting my jerry curl. They be packed. They go book, and book. They be packed, and you be in there for hours. And then they might gotta take a break and eat some lunch. They don't really take a break and eat some lunch, but they might gotta stop for a little while so they can eat them, get them something, because they be so booked. They can't. They don't just get no lunch break. You know what I'm saying? You ain't in the salon just getting no lunch break. Not if you a popping salon. You're not in no salon just getting no lunch break. So shout out to Alice. I know that she do her thing. I really thought it was just her too. I didn't know she had a salon, with people up under her. Um, but she has to wait. Titanic has to wait 30 minutes. I said all that to say it can be a time having to be in there anywho. She had to wait 30 minutes for someone to come to get her. After the someone came to get her, then they had to transport her to another salon. After they transported her to another salon, she told her, "Your hair is too short to get knotless braids." I would have probably wanted to know that if that's what I requested, it seems as though somewhere in communication prior to me sitting in your seat, you might say, it's based on the length of your hair. Something. That's my opinion of that. It's based on the length of your hair whether we can get it or not. So she gets there after waiting all that time and then having to be transported and then gets told that she can't get the style that she wanted. But then she says, and the truth be somewhere in the middle. But I'm just speaking about the Scorner and how all of Alice's videos that I saw about her speaking about it in comparison to Titanic's videos, because I went through and I watched as many videos as I can find. And Titanic's videos stayed very professional. She never called her out of her name. She called the young lady that did her hair Miss So and So. She was very respectful. She had a conversation with the young lady who Nothing was disrespectful in any of the posts, the videos that she made. It seems as though Alice's problem was that she came on social media and did it. But all that I said is a review is a review is a review. I don't have to come online and leave my review with y'all because, as Ringo said about the reviews on Alison Holker's book, now I went and I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled through Amazon and I found reviews on Alison Holker's book, and she had just as many poor reviews as she had good reviews. She might have had more poor reviews, but he was saying that it was as though they were hiding the reviews. So I don't know if that's something that happened when he went on or what have you. But I've seen it. I've seen it where you don't really see poor reviews on certain things. You see a lot of good reviews, as if there's a way that they can shadow ban reviews because everybody wants to feel good. Everybody wants the comments that are going to make them feel good or look good or all of that stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? Let's call a spade a spade. If somebody give you a poor review, it is what it is. If it ain't gonna stop your business, it ain't gonna stop your business. If it has to do with integrity, then somebody might need to know. But these are the social media streets, so how am I gonna say that Miss Sherry Minor had every right to say all the hurtful things that she would say about Zacchaeus and all the things she thought were being hurtful that she was saying to me? But Titanic don't have the right to give you what her experience was coming into that salon. And we talking before she even started getting her hair done. There was plenty of unprofessionalism. The fact that I got to your salon and had to wait 30 minutes after my appointment, when it's highly possible that I had to probably wait another 20 minutes once we got there for you to start my hair. I don't know. It's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But then you tell me that I can't get the braids that I want, but you're going to charge me for the braids that I want. So I don't know if it seems as though knotless braids, like I said, I don't really do hair anymore. But in my mind, knotless braids are going to cost more than regular box braids because the regular box braid has the knot and you don't have to go in and add any hair. The only hair, no, you wouldn't have had to add hair for that unless you were doing it for the length. Knotless braids, you have to continue to go in and add hair to the braid just to make sure that your braid is not getting too thin too quickly, because you're starting the knotless braid with your hair so that it won't have that knot, and then you go in and you intertwine the weave into your hair. Like lemonade braids is when you going in doing the cornrows and you go in and the more weave that you add, the bigger the braid gets as you go along. So a knotless braid is similar to that, but it's in box braid form. So you're not going to give her the knotless braids, but you're going to charge her for knotless braids. And you tell her that her hair is too short for knotless braids, so she can't get medium braids. She would have to get small braids, and then you proceed to do a smaller braid. When I think small braids, for real, I'm probably thinking the size of my locks. And my locks, even when I used to micro braid my hair, they weren't gonna be much smaller than this. They weren't gonna be much smaller. That's why when my daughter sent me the picture of the micro locks, I was, look, we gonna improvise, God. We gonna improvise because I ain't trying to do those kind of things. Because my brain already is gonna take a few days. My brain is gonna take a few days before this gets completely done. And I just told my daughter I think I need to try to attempt to do my hair before I get this surgery on my hand, because I can't imagine that I'm going to be able to do it after then. And maybe my hand will be healed enough by the time I go on my cruise that I can do my hair again before I go on my cruise. But I would consider mine small, and my parts are much smaller than what Titanic's were in the front. And then we get to the back. And this young lady parts are that big with hair that small on it. She she made her video. She parted. She went in and parted the back of her hair so you could see everything that was going on in the back of her hair. The back was a hot mess. And you could. Everybody was saying when she, and it probably to the trained eye, to an untrained eye, you probably couldn't tell where her hair ended and where the locks start. Excuse me, where the weave, um, where it was just weave. But she kept saying you could see where my hair ended, and I could. Her hair was a different color from the weave. It was kind of a little darker than the weave that she had in her hair. So you could see where her hair ended, and all the more in those back braids. So here we go. You told me I couldn't get medium braids, but you almost gave me some medium braids in the bag. You told me I couldn't get uh knotless, but you charged me for knotless. My appointment was at 12 o'clock, and I probably didn't get started until after 1. But having to wait the 30 minutes for someone to even get to an empty salon and then transport me to another salon, put me in a chair. And if you had to transport me to another salon, it is highly likely that you won't set up. So you had to get yourself set up. So that was a lot of customer service that was negated. Let's hit on. I hope I'm saying his name right. Wallow. Gilly and Wallow. I be knowing these names because I'm on social media, not because I know who these people are. And sometimes I'll just see posts. So Wallow said that he was not just supporting a black-owned business because it was a black-owned business. And somebody came in that comment basically like, you just supposed to support it because it's black, and then make the assumption that you just. I am so customer service because somebody came in and was like, I don't have to drag them, and that can be handled across the board in any situation, but I do not have to give them my service again if I go into their business establishment and it is not up to par as far as customer service or your product service, any of that. I can give you a chance, but if I go into your business and I see that something ain't up to par and something ain't right, or you didn't give me the customer service that I believe that I deserve as a customer straight off the bat, I don't care what color you are. I don't want any parts of your business. I will not support business owners just because they look like me. And as I am entering into this world, all that I'm doing is asking God to help me, Lord, to have integrity. Help me to have good customer service. I'm not saying that there can't be any one-offs and nothing can ever happen, but Lord, help me to have integrity. Help me to think about the people. Help me to have good customer service, oh God, because some of us think that we just supposed to be supported just because. Nothing about her situation up to getting in the chair exhibited professionalism or good customer service. And I ain't even trying to be funny. I, you can ask some of them and they're gonna say I ain't black. So not only because an African American generally is gonna be like we all look alike, we all the same. I'm gonna support you because you look black. Where they gonna turn around and be like I ain't black, and on either side, my daughter said, how can you call yourself better than somebody if you are going to act in the same way that they act? Titanic continued to say because people were like, why you didn't check him before you left the salon? You knew you ain't like it before you left the salon? Titanic said, I am not a confrontational person, and I promise you, when you look at Titanic, one thing for sure and two things for certain, you know. She done quoted scripture. She done came and put a prayer on her page and writing, and then came behind it and made a video with her speaking that same prayer on the video. She said, well, let me come in and say it so that I can make sure sure that the Most High God is hearing what I'm saying. Because people are down talking her because she gave her experience and because she didn't say anything. There have been plenty, and any salon owner can attest to it if they be honest. Everything is not always going to work out perfectly, and somebody at some point may not like something that you did on their hair, but they may not say anything to you, but you also may not see that person ever again as a client. I try to most of the time ask, are you satisfied with it? Sometimes people be satisfied with stuff that I ain't satisfied with, but sometimes people ain't satisfied, and I'm willing to redo your whole head if you don't like it. I promise you, I am willing to redo your whole head if you don't like it. If it's not what you asked. Alice just came online and talked about people that give bad reviews, how they're evil, and all kinds of things like that. Everything that she said, every video that I heard her speak about, was passing the buck as if nothing had gone wrong. Your stylist is still under your name. They represent you. But she made it seem as though nothing had gone wrong and there was everything wrong with the way that Titanic went about giving her review. Because that's all she did was gave her review live and in person. Because when you got a mic and a camera or a phone camera, you can do that. It's social media. Nobody owes you any niceness. That's what that young lady said. But if you know the definition of nice, you might want to stop using that word. You might want to go look up the etymology. You don't even have to look up the etymology. Just go look up the definition of nice. You might not want to use that word for yourself. Yeah. Because okay, God. Okay, God. I mean, you know you just ain't supposed to say it. So you know you just ain't supposed to say it. But all of her videos seem to be lacking any accountability about the situation until it continued to fester. The more that it continued to fester, and the more that it grew legs, because Titanic had a platform as well, and we can say this like O'Shea Duke Jackson said about Corey Holcomb and comedy, the man from Comedy Hype. Because the man from Comedy Hype is y'all did my video about Corey Holcomb coming to Hampton and they walking out. They walked out. Or whoever put the video, they walked out. I mean, you can't stop that. But Corey Holcomb just went to just calling the man homosexual. That's his go-to. This homosexual man. But said all of that to say, it gained clout for all of them, for both of them. It brought attention to both of their pages, which will bring followers and potentially clients. Same rules apply here. When you're out there putting your business on the social media streets. That's why the truth be somewhere in the middle. But all that I'm saying, I'm not calling out who was the most truthful, but all that I'm saying is there was nothing unprofessional about the way that Titanic went about this business. But everything that I saw Alice doing seemed extremely unprofessional as a businesswoman. Extremely emotional. And the fact that you think that anybody that has a bad review is just some hateful, evil person, as if I have to tell you that you did good if you did it, or that your stylist did good. They was like, if Alice didn't do your hair, why you get it done? Why you ain't say something before you left out the salon? She said because it would have went from $550 to possibly no bond. That's what she said, that she's non-confrontational way before I got to that video about no bond. When she said she was non-confrontational, all I said is, Lord, that's because she used to be confrontational. And had she been confrontational in that salon, it possibly would have turned out right. I said that when I watched the video 2 weeks ago. I was just scrolling on YouTube and I saw a YouTuber. I said, and a half. But I ain't gonna watch this hour and a half video talking about Alice, but I wound up watching the whole thing, and I said it back then. Yeah, she's non-confrontational because she allowed to be written. She said it would have went from 550 to no bond. Now she spoke with the young lady that did her hair on the phone. She got sent back money. Titanic got sent back money. She thought that Alice had refunded her, but Alice took money. The young lady that did her hair, I think it said that she sent all of the money to Alice. The deposit, the tip, she sent it all to Alice, and in that, Alice sent money back. So it's almost like the young lady that did the hair didn't get paid nothing. Alice didn't have to. She was able to pass the buck the entire time. She did wind up apologizing eventually. Because after Titanic found out that the monies that were returned did not come from Alice, she said, "Now I want all my money." You just played in both our faces. You played in my face and you played in Miss Tanya's face. You didn't have to come off of anything. Now I want all my money. So I don't know where it stands. She threatened to take her to small claims court. I don't know where it stands, but I do understand that business has to. I'm not saying that Braids by Alice does not have integrity, but you can't be just out here passing the buck. You can't just be out here calling people evil that you don't know. What made her evil? She didn't say one evil thing. She didn't say one evil thing. And many of the comments stated, that was not a $500 hairdo. Some folks was like, you could have went to a kitchen stylist. They said they knew kitchen stylists that did hair better than Alice, and I'm certain that it's so. Kitchen stylists that did hair better than Alice and charge half of what she charges. But when you get out there and you get big on TikTok, you can do that. So shout out to Alice. Braids by Alice, Alice Dimples. All right, now we're going to talk about Kim Delaney and her husband. Mr. James Morgan, I don't know if you be looking at you got to look at your wife's daggone Instagram because that's where she needed to post the picture so that all of her fellow fans and followers could come in and comment on the pictures that she posted after y'all got out of jail. Mr. James Morgan got out of jail the same day that they went to jail. Kim Delaney, that was on a Saturday. They went to jail on a Saturday. They said they had been fighting for 2 days. They went to jail on a Saturday. When I did the initial video, all that I knew was that she was in jail on felony assault charges with intent to cause gross bodily harm. None of the articles said what she had done. And then we proceed to when I was, that might have been a Monday that I went live. I'm not quite sure what day that I went live. But we proceed to that day. And so I say, let me go look up some more stuff. Let me go look up some more stuff so I can see what's going on since then. So I go and look up some news articles, and it says, that she got released. It says that she will not be charged with trying to run her man down with her car. And on a more serious note, I know someone, I love someone who had a loved one that was run down by his girlfriend with her car, and he stayed in a coma for months, and then he passed away. So there's a serious aspect. She tried to cause gross bodily harm. They said she will not be charged because there is not enough evidence. And remember, my last video said that she has been charged before with a hit and run, but she denied. And then somehow or another, I was talking to my cousin, my sister, and I said, I think that person, they said the person eventually gave up. I think that person probably gave up because it was Kim Delaney. Kim Delaney is very famous. Kim Delaney is from NYPD Blue. Kim Delaney is from All My Children. Kim Delaney is from Criminal Minds. Kim Delaney. There was a few other shows that Army Wise, I think it said. Yeah, I remember. I didn't even watch Army Wise, but yeah, she was in Army Wise. I remember seeing commercials and stuff with her. She's Kim Delaney. And you just somebody saying she tried to hit you. And so that one went to bye bye. So this one seems to be going bye bye. But the Daily Mail Co. The dailymail.co.uk posted. She took to Instagram to present him with 2 bouquets of roses. And she wrote, and this is after she got out. And she wrote, "Birthday boy, 55, your wife loves you, my guy." Now, all I said when I read that, because let me tell y'all something. I think O'Shea do be. I had already said, we're going to come back to that Instagram post. Because I had already said that I think that O'Shea reads his, I know that he reads some of his comments, but I believe that he read my comments on when he was doing the story about the woman that looks like this, who wears the braids, and she was walking around little hood neighborhoods and asking black women. Why I can say black, but I can't say white. The white woman was walking around in the hood neighborhoods, and she was asking the black women, "Can I wear these? What y'all have a problem with women wearing white women wearing braids, or how y'all feel about white women wearing braids?" I watched Anthony Brian Logan. This is not even stuff he talks about on his channel, but he ran it because he believed that that they got together when she did it with the woman in the bonnet, the black woman with the bonnet on, and she was like, "Take them out, take them out." It just really looked so scripted. It really looked so scripted. And so when O'Shea posted the video, Anthony Brian Logan went in to let you know. He went to the white woman's page, and he went in to let you know that this is what she do. She go into these neighborhoods and she's trying to provoke this behavior. But I think she found somebody to join in with her, and they came up with this plot to make this video. So when O'Shea did the video, he eating the black woman. He eating her. She got on the bonnet, and why they sister? She's so loud and blah, 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 blah. So I went in and I commented. I was like, "O'Shea, I watched Anthony Brian Logan, and Anthony Brian Logan believes that this was a setup, and she also does this on a regular basis on her page. Not even a week later, O'Shea did a video where he was coming back. He wasn't apologizing to the black woman per se, but he lightened up on her because it was his Dusty News Network, so he gave the white woman the Dusty Award for going around trying to antagonize. And I believe that, look, I be in my, hey, didn't Wendy Williams talk about the people she was friends with in her head? So in my head, I believe that once O'Shea read my comment and then went and made a video based off of the comment that I made when I gave him the info from Anthony Brian Logan, I believe he clicked on because sometimes I be nosy when I be on people's comments, or when I be commenting on people's videos and stuff, and I see other comments, I might go and tap on the person and see what their page is. My page. And saw the Kim Delaney. And then went and did his research and did the Kim Delaney. Because nobody, I just said that because nobody, only the mainstream was doing Kim Delaney. I was the onlyest one. I beat the little guy. Yay, me! I got 400 subscribers on YouTube and 405 on TikTok. Roll organic. You feel me? But anywho, now I'm just trying to make sure I do things to get my views up. Because the subscribers, yeah, I'll be listening, O'Shea. I forget the man's name that was talking about the subscribers in comparison to the views. But anywho, So he basically was like, her husband needs to get out of there because the next time she'll succeed. I had already stated that I just hadn't come on. I went onto that Instagram post because he read all of the comments of the white women on that post and how they were rationalizing Kim Delaney's behavior and telling you, it kills me when somebody comes online and says, to say you don't got to be so negative is one thing. Which, just like I said at the beginning, nobody owes you niceness. I've been saying that all the way through. But to say mind your business, this is their business when it's on social media, is a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother thing. It is everybody's business once it hits a public platform. In my Larry Reed voice, Larry Reed used to say all the time when I first started watching him, I don't go searching for any of this stuff. I don't be going digging into people's privacy. This is public knowledge. That's like public record in the court. How you can go and look at the court dockets. It's public record. It's public social media. When your business gets out here, it's public business at that point. All of the women are saying that or rationalizing. Somebody's quoted the scripture about love. Love is kind and love is all of this and love is. And I'm like, are they saying that to Mr. James Morgan? Because trying to run somebody down with your vehicle is not the greatest exhibition of love. And with trying to have all the compassion I can in the world, I understand that she is fighting a battle with alcoholism. But she then has to understand how much help she needs because you just tried to run somebody. This is getting progressively worse. It seems as though to me, because I went up there and was like, Mr. James Morgan, you need to get out. In my key appeal voice, you need to get out. That was before O'Shea did his video. I did that last week. You need to get out, sir. Because if by some chance, because when she did this rose thing, 2 bouquets of rose, who do that? But a man that abuses the woman. Now, if that man would have come up there and posted 2 dozen roses and babe, it's your 55th birthday and your husband loves you, you'd have been saying he's an abuser. He's a wife beater. He is a domestic violencer. But you quote scriptures about love and tell people to mind their business. And there was some fans and they go, I'm gonna read you because O'Shea posted with the fans, but I ain't got that capability yet. So I'm getting ready to tell y'all what some of the fans said. The district attorney said that they did not have sufficient evidence to move forward against either of them. One of the articles that I read about Mr. Morgan already called his suspected misdemeanor domestic violence. Suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence. And when I was speaking to somebody, I said, could that have possibly been because O'Shea said that too? Anytime we raise a hand to try to defend ourselves, we still gonna get arrested. Because that's what I said last week. Could he have been under suspicion because possibly he was trying to keep her off of him? Because we never gonna look at it like that. Just the same way everybody was caping for Alice because she's the big person online, and you don't know who Titanic is, so you just gonna cape for the big name. If that man was by chance trying to get her off of him or out of the way, let me just move, let me just exit. And she ain't wanted to be done so much to the effect that she got in her car and said, I'm gonna run you down. Could he not have been trying to protect himself? Said, let's keep this love and kindness with each other through these uncertain times. What? Is that one of the comments? I don't know if that's what. I don't know, because I don't have it down there with the rest of the comments, but I have it. So somewhere had to say it. Page6.com is who had the article talking about the fans that let me tell you the title. It says, she baffled fans with the Instagram post. Why would the fans be baffled? Because we're not going to talk about the fans that was catered for. We're going to talk about the fans that was baffled. She also added a song. So it was 2 dozen roses, babe, it's your 55th birthday and your wife loves you, and a song by Christopher Stapleton, Joy of My Life. There was another post that they had in the article speaking about their anniversary. She made an Instagram post back in their anniversary. That was right after an incident as well, because she was upset to be applying for a divorce, but she never went through the divorce. Let's see. Said the fans were taken aback by the nonchalant post. Her first upload since she allegedly ran him down. Did I ever say allegedly? Allegedly. The one fan said, what the F? Are we supposed to all forget what just happened last week? Another one said, I'm confused. Another one said, you get one phone call and you order flowers for him? Another one said, nothing like flowers after a mow down. Woo! The District Attorney Nathan Holloman also confirmed no charges would be filed, but noted that the decision may be reconsidered if additional evidence of witnesses emerge. Okay, so when she filed for divorce, on March the 25th, 2023. They got married on October the 11th, 2022. And they separated on March the 21st, 2023. And then they got back together. It does not say why she filed for divorce. Everything I'm speaking about is alleged, like in my Tasha K. And I was looking to see if they said anything about, because she's the common denominator of being divorced. Well, she didn't get divorced this time, but she's been divorced this many times, this many marriages for her. Though. And at some point, I don't know, because somebody came on when somebody was speaking about Felicia Rashad. I hadn't even realized she had been married 3 times, but someone commented on it as if to say that she had been cheated on that many times, like she had been cheated on in her other marriages, and that's why she left. So that's neither here nor there. I don't know. I couldn't find any information on Kim Delaney's divorce. And that comment was a beautiful second wedding anniversary. That was October the 11th, 2023. Yeah, no. That would have been 2024. And now anniversary weekend. Great memories. Wait, why I got that so many times? Don't mind me, y'all. So I was wrong. I'm going to go back and say I was wrong because I thought that was right after. But if it's saying it was a second anniversary, then that would have had to be October 11th, 2024. And the separation was March of 2023, so it would have been a whole other year. Okay, yeah. And it says that she made the domestic violence report against James 2 days before they got arrested. But I'm still going to say it was suspicion of domestic violence, and he didn't get his was misdemeanor. That's the only thing that makes me wonder if it was him trying to keep her off of him, or did he just? Oh, I'm just saying. Remember, I told y'all this is for y'all to be able to see more than one side to a story. That's all. That's all. All right, y'all. Well, I's done, and I appreciate y'all for sitting with me a spell. We done sat here and we done talked about Zacchaeus. We done talked about Sherry Minor. You know, just trying to learn how to sweep around my own front door because I'm not a scorner. I really try with everything in me to listen to reproof. And how can we grow? Let's just say that you are not a Christian. But if nobody can tell you what to do, tell you anything, and not tell you what to do as if to demand you to do anything, but if nobody can give you advice that may be helpful to you, how does one grow? So today we talked about Zacchaeus, we talked about Sherry Knight, we talked about Alice Dimples raised by Alice in Titanic, and we've talked about Kimberly. And we have talked about myself. Hello, beautiful. Are you a scorner? Do you go to the wise for reproof? Or can nobody tell you nothing? Because if that is you, and you are a child of the Most High God, and nobody can tell you nothing, you're wrong, dead wrong, and I promise you God will cut your kite string. Sylvia is out, beautiful, and she love you.